We are live, everyone. Welcome to our Wretched Realms Kickstarter campaign live stream with Kevin E. Meinert in the upper right corner there, and Brett R. Pinson in the lower. He gets the whole lower to himself there.
Wow.
Usually Kevin's on the bottom, but I gave Brett the coveted spot.
So I'm the bottom bitch tonight.
You're bottom tonight.
You're a little spoon.
It's all right. It's Scott's turn in the barrel next week.
Nice.
So before we get into Wretched Realms, did you see the breaking news that came out about an hour ago or so?
No, what's up?
Dexter is coming back.
Oh, yeah, I don't care.
Oh. I enjoyed Dexter, so I'm looking
they
forward
talk
to
about that forever coming back. They finally announced it as coming back. It's like I saw the original series and it ended. I was like, that's fine. I don't need them to bring it back and reboot it with the same people. No.
Well, the ending was fine if they just ended it like 20 seconds earlier.
Yeah.
Had they just ended it with him out in that storm and that was it, I think that would have been better. The problem with the ending to me was the whole point of telling a story is to have a story arc, to have character development. That very last scene they inserted, Dexter was no different at the end than he was in that very beginning of episode 1 of season 1. So it was like there was no arc.
But his condition, if you want to call it that, whatever his personality and everything else, he shouldn't change. He should always stay the same because he was designed that way, especially when they showed all the flashbacks when he was a kid and his dad was teaching him, things, knowing that, okay, he's predisposed to be this serial killer the way he was. It's kind of just,
right.
Yeah, well, that's why he should never change. Yeah.
To me, the way the ending should have been, if they really wanted that final lumberjack scene, would have been where you see him sitting there and then he gets up and he walks into the living room or something and the living room is covered in plastic and you see there's another victim. Yeah. And then it ends. Then it's like, okay, that would have been cool. But I don't know, him just sitting there staring at the camera was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it. I liked Dexter. How about you, Kevin? You're quiet.
I never actually watched it.
Yeah. The
bits and pieces. I caught episodes here and there. That's it.
The peak was definitely when John Lithgow was on it as the Trinity Killer. He was awesome.
Yeah, after that, I really didn't care for it. It kind of felt repetitive and everything else. So it's one of those shows I wish they'd only done 4 seasons, but of course that was when they were cranking out 13 or 14 episodes a season, and it was just too much. They overdid it, just kind of repetitive, so you lost track. I think that having a reboot is not really that great of an idea. I could see some movies maybe, but
did they really say a reboot? Because they said he's coming back.
Well, it's a continuation of the original series.
But I saw the article you're talking about. It came out a few hours ago, and it's like, but they mentioned they're treating it like a reboot, relaunch. But to bring him back, I'm sitting there going, okay, this doesn't make any sense. So.
Well, I think what it's going to be is they're not undoing anything previously done. It's just he's probably going to be in a new town. So you're not going to have his sister in there. And
they're doing Jay and Silent Bob, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and then now the Jay and Silent Bob reboot or whatever that came out last year. That's what they're doing. It's nothing's changing. It's just doing the same thing. They're just settings.
And Showtime, they haven't really had anything. I think it was Showtime.
Yeah,
they haven't had anything to replace Dexter. And what's his name? Michael C. Hall or whatever his name is. He never really took off. Everyone just sees him as Dexter. So I'm sure he's like, I might as well make money as Dexter since that's how everyone sees me.
Well, see, that's the problem with a lot of like Showtimes like that. They haven't had a hit in a while, so they just go back to their own thing instead of doing what they did in the first place with Dexter, is trying something new, trying something original. But no, we'll just go back to what kind of worked before, and it's just like the whole Game of Thrones. They're doing that. The new series of Game of Thrones is going to be like a prequel. It's like nobody really cares about that crap.
Well, but they would have cared if they had ended it right.
Yeah, well, but really, would they? I mean, it's like why go back to 100 years before? We already know how it ends because it's just like they did with Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad was an excellent show, loved it. I can't get into the Better Call Saul because eventually I know how it's going to end. They're just dragging out the inevitability, and that's Breaking Bad.
I agree with you on that. However, Better Call Saul, a lot of people love it, so that one seems to do well. But I agree. To me, I know there's no tension for the character because he's going to survive to make it to the future because we've seen him in the future.
Yeah, the only prequels that work are Star Wars, and that's it.
A prequel, you said kinda, but like a prequel, I just want to give you a tidbit of information that you wouldn't have known otherwise. Rogue One is like the perfect prequel. Like, oh, that's awesome! It's a great its own story, gives you insight, connects a few dots. But I mean, it's not there for like, let's say I have 6 seasons of a prequel. No, it's
and that's where I get lost on all that stuff. It's I get tired of this. So we gotta go back and just stay in the same thing. It's like, no, we've already played in that sandbox and it's gotten stale, so we need to have a new sandbox to play in.
Right. I hear you. So there you go. So how do you really feel about Dexter, Brett?
I really don't care,
I thought you were going to be excited.
God, no. I barely watched it after the 4th season. And I think the last season, I really didn't watch it until the end. I just watched the last episode. I was like, I missed absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And I just watched it. It's like, okay, you guys sucked.
Well, we'll see where it goes.
Stale, so they don't know what they're doing. I'm
excited.
Oh, good, Scott. I'm glad you're excited.
So, on other news, we have this awesome Kickstarter. That's not a prequel, and it is endorsed by Brett Pinson. So, so unlike Dexter, Brett likes this one. Yes. So excited. It went up a little bit today. So we're at 1773. That was a fine year. We got what is that? $227
to
go. So we're getting there.
So we need one more backer to do one of the bigger packages and jump us over the $2,000 and
some of the bonuses, any donations that equal $40 or more, you'll get a free sketch from me. I'm also working on I'm thinking of some bonus packages here. So donations of 40 or more, you will automatically qualify for the bonus packages I'm going to be introducing this next week to help spur things forward. So if you get in now, you'll still get those future add-ons that I'm about to introduce. So that'll be good.
Sweet.
So might as well do the announcement we revealed it earlier today on Odd Musings. We have the rough sketch for the upcoming cover of Wretched Realms, issue 1 by Sergio Cariello.
I'm real excited to see the finished product of that because that right there is just a great sketch.
Oh, yeah. Yep, I'm loving it. I like how you see in the background. Now, keep in mind, this is a rough sketch. He is working on the final still. So some elements may change, could change completely, but he's working on it right now. Although you got, those Wild West rock formations that are there, kind of like what you saw the pod racers in episode 1 go through on Tatooine. You got that rock formation. You got the noose hanging from the rock formation with the hangman in the background. You got the renegade in the front here riding his horse. What I love about this is it's such classic Sergio with his Lone Ranger. I mean, this is very similar to the Lone Ranger poses, which I absolutely love.
Yeah,
what are your thoughts, Kevin?
Horse. I love it. I loved everything he did with that, and I to go with the hangman in that scenario and just the layout. I think it's going to look fantastic. So. It'll be awesome to see the inks, and I've already got color schemes floating around in my head for coloring it. So
sweet, yeah, that'll be nice. So we got 3 different covers this will be featured on. We've got Sergio will be doing the final black and white inks as well on this. So for the unlimited cover, Kevin that you see here on the screen with us, he'll be doing the colors to create the full color image for the unlimited cover. Then we will be doing the pure black and whites of Sergio's as a limited edition, printed to only 100 copies, and each one will be printed right on the cover, 1 of 100, 2 of 100, etc. So, what do you call it? Serialized or whatever. And then we'll have a final cover, the ultra limited, which will be his black and white inks with foil accents on top of it to really make it bling out, which is what we did on Crimson Shadows with J. Travis Smith's cover. And that was really popular. Only 30
It looked
copies.
really good. It looked really good too. I like how it came out.
Yeah, so we're gonna bling it out with something, but yeah, I'm really excited. I absolutely love where he's at right now, and it's only going to get better from here as he finishes it out. So even his roughs are just beautiful.
Yeah, there's so much movement. There's a lot of kinetic energy. And it reminds you again. It's what I always loved about a lot of the '70s and '80s comics. The covers always told a story in itself.
Right.
And that's what you want. So many of the covers now is just it's a great image, but it's just a good image. This cover, you take away all the wording and everything else, and you
It's a
just
great
put
poster.
that picture out there. It tells a story.
Yep, it's a great poster just by itself.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to seeing that final product. And I know, Kevin, your colors are going to be awesome on here, and it's just going to be beautiful.
Yeah, now I just got not screwed up.
I know. You're like,
it's a good thing you're doing it digitally.
Yep, absolutely.
No, I think it's gonna look great. I think it's gonna look great because you with the colors you did for the 4-page story I wrote for your Poe book. I'm looking forward to seeing this because I've seen the different things you can do within. You did 4 pages and you did basically 2 different color styles, and to see what you can do with this one, you've got the all to really make it pop out really great with color, but still show off what Sergio did.
That's one thing I've been really enjoying with Bardstone as a whole is watching Kevin. You've really broadened your styles. You've come out with multiple styles between your different stories in Poe Macabre, what you did with your inks in Crimson Shadows, the colors you're doing with the story Brett wrote. That was a different color style for you. You've really branched out quite a bit, and I've been enjoying watching that progress with you.
It's something you always you want to do, but when you're cramming in all the artwork and doing the fan art, which you have to kind of do the fan art in a certain way,
Right.
And like we all talked about before, it got really, really mundane doing all that stuff, and I wanted to do things different. And believe me, you want to pick things that really test you, and I wanted to branch out and do some other things, and this has given me the opportunity to be able to do that. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been a big challenge to try to push myself in different directions. So I have to thank COVID for the push in the right direction, or the time, or the kick in the ass, whatever you want to say. But it's given me the opportunity to sit down and say, what better time than now to change everything up.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it really, and we Brett and I have talked about this on Odd Musings, is the hard part is when you're trying to make a living off of your art, there's 2 different aspects to it. You've got immediate needs, you got bills you have to pay today, but you have your long-term goals of your creative projects you want to create and things like that. But creative projects, they don't usually pay out now. It usually takes years for the payout to occur over time. So you got to fill your time with those projects, fan art, aka fan art, which bring the immediate payoff. But you start, it's like a slow death in a way, because creatively it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun doing fan art because you're usually drawing things you love. But at some point you start getting trapped. Like you were saying, Kevin, like you have ideas in your head of styles you want to do, but what sells. And so it's like, I got to, like even me with my helmet series, it's like, okay, people were buying those. So I was starting to get forced to draw them over and over again. And whereas it was fun at first, then it was like, oh God, I got to do another helmet piece. What am I going to draw? And instead of doing what you want to do or working on those comic books you want to publish, you're doing the thing that's going to have immediate payoff. So COVID kind of killed the immediate payoff. So it's like, hey, we have time to
right. Yeah. And then, I guess one, silver lining is going to be, when things do go back to normal and maybe we want to do a couple of pieces of fan art, it's going to be the rarity to do the fan art, so it's probably going to bring the joy back to even doing something like that,
Well, because the real hope is that our titles develop to the point where our fan art is of our titles.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have cosplayers dressing up as our characters.
I've enjoyed taking some time and digging out some, I buy books all the time, and I've bought several different, coloring books, how to color comics and how to do, storytelling. And, I've read through them. So I found myself flipping through these books I haven't looked through in years. And just trying to toy around with some, new styles, and it's great. It really is weird to go back and look at some of the other stuff I have drawn. In fact, I was flipping through something, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I did that. Oh yeah, oh, that is mine. I forgot, So
was it the Alice in Wonderland book?
Yeah, and yeah, there's so many, and you go back and you look, and you're like, there's things you like, and then there's things you don't like. But no, I looked at that and thought, God, I remember what I was thinking when I was drawing that. I was so excited to be drawing a book, and kind of being able to have freedom to do those characters. And I remembered how much satisfaction it gave me. So I haven't felt as much satisfaction or just joy in what I'm doing in a long time, other than since we started working on these books. It's work, and it's hard work, and there's a lot involved with it. But to see the end results and the quality and the payout, it's amazing. It's so worth it, and it's something that 10 years, 15 years from now, I can look back and say, hey, we did it. We did all the things that we always wanted to do, and whether it's a miserable failure or a huge success, you know what? We did it.
We did.
That's a huge accomplishment, no matter what happens from here.
See, I said that from day one when I did my very first comic, the Boomtown Scabs. And I've said this to other people. I said, when John and I first did, I said he wanted to originally do it like it's just an ash can. I said, no, let's get it really printed. I wanted, and this was before we had as much access as we do now, because this was 2004 was when we finished it up. We printed in 2005, so 15 years. And I said, I don't care if I got boxes of them sitting around, and that's the only thing I ever do. I want to be able to say, hey, look, I did this. And not many people can say that. Just so many people come up to us at shows and talk about, oh, I want to do comics. I want to write a comic. I want to draw a comic. And I would say probably 80% of them want to get paid by somebody else to do a comic.
Right. And even then, they want to get paid. They don't want to actually do it.
Yeah. But then the 20% that have an idea and they talk about publishing and stuff like that, very few, not even 20% of those people actually do it. Yeah. And I keep telling them, just do it. Especially nowadays where there's so many different avenues and ways of getting it physically printed as well as just putting it out digitally and having something out there. It's a great way, you do something, say, hey, I created this. I'm now a published author. I'm now a published illustrator, all the whole things that go with it. And, that's the whole thing. And that's I'd rather fail trying something like this than to never have done it and wonder what if.
Right.
Yeah, I equate doing a book to, it's no different than when I like doing marathons. Mm-hmm. It's easy to say, oh, I like to run and just go for a run. But to do a marathon, you have to dedicate yourself to a lot of hours of running just to get to the point of running the marathon. It's this way with a book too. A book is hard work. As creatives, people get these ideas in their head and say, oh, and they just want to pour out this idea. The thing is, when you're writing, when you're in the process of making the book, at some point you have downloaded that information from your head to the page. For you, you've gotten it out now. Mm-hmm. But the book still has a lot of work to do
right.
to get to the finish line. And it takes a lot. And you've got to be disciplined to say, you know what? I can't keep entertaining every shiny object that my mind goes down. I have to stay focused to bring this to finish. And all of you know it. All of us have done our own individual books as solo projects, and we're now doing it as a team. It takes work. And then you take it to a whole nother level with Kickstarter, where we are now also the fulfillment center for our own books. So we also have to ship and coordinate and order inventory. If you're a Marvel artist, you just draw your part and you're done. We're creating it, writing it, illustrating it, publishing it, printing it, shipping it. We are all those steps. It's a lot of work, people.
That's why you ought to support us. Come on, let's get that money up there.
That's right. So you gotta support it. But I'm going to be adding a reward to all this. Like I said, I'm going to announce it later on. What's today? Today's Wednesday. Maybe early next week. I just want to make sure you gotta be careful when choosing free add-ons because it can bankrupt you quick. So I gotta make sure I have the right thing. But I think I know what I'm adding.
That's why I wholeheartedly believe in no prizes. Thank you, Stanley.
Stanley and his no prize.
Yes.
So I thought I would pull up now this particular story in Wretched Realms. It's an anthology series. Every story is its own standalone story, which is part of what makes it cool. We're going to be able to have all kind of guest artists and writers and everything else. They can be different stories. They can be poems. They can be whatever they want. But what I want to show is this one. I'm enjoying doing this whole theme where I'm making a story to a song. So this one here is based on the Renegade. So I pulled up here some song facts from Styx, the band Styx, and their song Renegade. Let's see here. Song was used in the Adam Sandler movie Big Daddy and Billy Madison. I didn't know that. Let's see. Chris Daughtry performed the song live on the American Idol. Let's see. This classic rock staple tells the story of a man who has committed associated theft. What's associated theft? And is heading to the gallows to die. Actually, in the song, it never says what he did.
Well, the associated theft would kind of just be guilty by association.
Yeah. Well, my story, he's much.
He was manning the getaway horse.
Yeah. For in our story, he stole people's lives.
Yeah.
So that's why he's going to the gallows. So, but let's see. I'm trying to find the stats about the actual song. Let's see. Here we go. It hit the Billboard Top 100 chart at position number 73 on June 3rd, 1979. Peaked at 16 for 1 week, and then spent another 19 weeks in the top 100. It's on their Styx solo album, Pieces of 8. And the album as a whole hit number 6 on Billboard's top 200 albums chart. Two other charts also made the top 100. Two other tracks on the album made it top 100. Blue Collar Man, which peaked at 21, and Sing for the Day, which reached number 41. So there you go. So I don't know. That song I've always liked that song, but it just really sparked the imagery, and that's where I was like, actually, I had another song in my head for who I was going to do the story for. It was going to be Jesse's Girl by Rick Springfield. And that song happened to come up on the radio while I was putting down the story for Jesse's Girl. And the whole story just like popped in my head, like almost instant. So I'm like, you know what? I'm doing this one. This one came too clearly for me. So, and like in one afternoon, I wrote it all and got started on it. Good times.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's and we talked about this before. Inspiration comes from so many different ways, and the song spoke to you. I mean, it was like even when I wrote the Poe story. I mean, I was doing it based on an actual poem, but the poem inspired the story I came up with, and you never know where that inspiration is going to come from when you're hearing things, seeing things, and where it's going to take you on that journey. So
yeah,
I think it's cool.
That image Kevin was able to do for your piece there, I believe you're going to be doing it as a poster.
Yeah.
Actually, you should call it a poster. P-O-E. That's it. We'll sell posters.
Yeah. The last page of Brett's story, I took as much time on that last one page than I did on all the other three combined.
Well, I like the color details you did too. It was like a watercolor feel.
Yeah, so it was fun because I wanted a different vibe. It starts off happy and it goes to like a dream state watercolor style, and then that last page is just like gritty, horrible realism. Yeah. So, and it was a lot of fun to draw. It was a great idea. Loved it. As soon as Brett told it to me, I'm like, oh, that's great. I never even crept into my head to think of it in that angle. So Just a great, interpretation, and it's going to be a
the
fun
part
twist.
with collaborative pieces is you get input from people from angles you weren't thinking of, and
Right.
Sometimes you're like, no, but usually the collaborative process makes the product better. And that's what I really enjoy about it.
Yeah, there's always everyone like anything, when in Crimson Shadows with, J. Travis, his pencils are amazing, and inking over them is great. So it's a different vibe, but it's just the way he does certain things. I'm like, I really like how he did that there. Well, I'm gonna put that in the memory banks for when I'm doing something later. So it's you certain, like you said, angles, like visually as an artist, like I never would have, because I've read your script and I'm like, okay, I kind of had the idea of how it was going to go, and I've seen your layouts, and there have been a few little things that he added to it, and I'm like, I never would have thought of that. That's
right.
Such a great little simple things, like the reflection in the water when you're looking at the shoe print, things like that. Yep. And I just finished that page. So I just really liked how he did that and the way he illustrated it, because it adds that little, I don't know, a little bit of that first several pages is like a very horror movie-esque opening, Crimson Shadows too. So not to give too much away, but
well, here, since you mentioned it, we'll show off that page because you sent that to me. Let's see here. Let me pull it up, share screen. Bam.
Yeah, these first several pages are a blast.
So this is page 2 of Crimson Shadows 2. Kevin just finished, like he said. There's this was actually my idea, the reflection. I was like telling Travis, I'm like, I'm really hoping you can pull this off, and he did. His pencils are beautiful, and then you made it awesome with your inks. And let me see if I can get to that screen again so I can point at it. Where did it go? That's the problem with StreamYard. It's like, which tab is this on? Anyways, you guys can see it. So in the upper panel there, you got Sherlock Holmes and Watson. My Watson is a large fella who likes to brawl, but he also likes to keep his clothes clean. He's not too happy that he's in the sewers with Sherlock right now. And you got the shoe print down there. They're tracking down Jack the Ripper is what they're doing. And what's fun about Crimson Shadows is I'm tying in actual dates, locations, people into the timeline, and then I'm blending in mythological characters like Sherlock Holmes, and bringing all these true facts together. So all the facts I'm using in the Jack the Ripper case are true facts. The dates are true. Even Sherlock Holmes, the date the letter came to the Central Agency news office, and then they forwarded it to Scotland Yard, and that's how. So I have that day occurring, and Sherlock Holmes is working at Scotland Yard, and that's how he gets assigned to the case. So I'm enjoying doing this, but I really loved the way the second panel, the lower left on the screen, came out with the shoe print and the reflection in the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm already I was viewing, how you were doing the colors in issue 1, so I can already see it kind of in my head how you're going to color it in. I'm like, it's gonna look awesome. It's just great little tiny little details and things like that. It's so much fun to be part of it.
Yeah. So I'm having a blast doing this. I've already written through. I'm almost done with issue 4 for writing. So I'm like so geeked on keeping Crimson Shadows moving. I got Crimson Shadows 2. We're probably 30% done, probably totally, maybe 40, something like that. Crimson Shadows 3 is fully written. Crimson Shadows 4 is mostly written. So I'm trying to create a 5-issue arc so I can then put it together into a nice standalone. But then the story hopefully will continue from there. It's my goal. So good stuff.
Well, we never know what the future is going to hold and how next year is going to treat us as far as conventions or anything else. So it's a great advantage to try to get ahead of the curve like we are. So by the time the shows happen and everything else, we should have a couple of books ready to go or close to ready to go. So even if we start doing conventions and stuff and have to start distracting time to those things, shows, events, we still have quite a bit of product that we've had the time to bank up. So
well, just Bardstone alone, we're gonna have, let's see, for the start of next year, we're gonna have for sure, well, maybe not the very start, but early in the year, we will have Poe issue 1 and 2, Crimson Shadows 1 and 2, Wretched Realms 1. Then you also have our individual projects. I've got Emmanuel, God With Us. Brett's got his series. He's got Carl and Boomtown Scabs and the Expendables, and you've got the books you've previously done, Kevin. So when we've got a nice setup for our table, just with the existing plus what we've done this year, and we got more to come. I'm hoping Wretched Realms 2 will be moving along, not too far behind Crimson Shadows 2. So we're keeping the slate full and really making the push to make this work.
Yeah, and like I said, it's been a fun ride so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it. And and the Kickstarters have been great. People have been incredibly generous with the 3 so far, and we're so close with Wretched Realms. I know we'll get there shortly, and it's because of everybody that's watching and everyone that contributes. It enables us to do what we're doing. So thanks to everyone that's contributing. If you haven't, get on board. Go spend some money. Go support us.
That's right.
Feed my beer habit.
Well, I mentioned on Odd Musings, we mentioned about the shows, and there's no shows, and you got to treat these Kickstarters like you're going to a convention. And right now is a great time because besides ours, you've got up there Sean and Steph Forney. I mean, they've already met their goal. Yep. It's just like going from table to table. So you check out our table. Now I go down to Sean Forney's table. And then I mentioned Terrell Culbert here from Michigan that's got his going on. And he's met his goal as well. So those are 3 independent groups that are and artists that are got some great stuff. Yeah. And that's just like going to shows. When I go to shows, I love going from table to table in Artist Alley and seeing what's new book wise. I skip over ones that have no books. I can look at the art for a minute, but I really want to see books. That's why I go to the Artist Alley tables. That's been my preference. So,
yep. Yeah, so Sean and Stephanie have their Scarlet's Field Guide to Cryptids and Other Creatures. It's going to be a fun book. It's a series that they have going. It's the Scarlet Huntress series. And Sean and Stephanie are husband and wife. They are co-creators on this. They are both involved in this. And they put out a quality product. And you can read all about them on their Kickstarter. I'll post the link here. Let me copy this so I can post it. But if you're looking it up on Kickstarter yourself, if you look up Sean Forney or Scarlet's Field Guide, I'm sure you'll find it there. But
doesn't this book look great? It looks like much fun.
Here's a bunch of samples from inside the book. A lot of artists, 16 different artists are part of it. So good stuff. Let me paste that there.
I think we all know most of them that are on there. So
yeah, I was reading through the list. It was I know that guy. I've usually seen that guy 5 times in a year at this point.
Oh yeah, well, Jay Fife.
Yeah,
and actually he's part of Poe Macabre number 2, right?
He's got a story in Poe 2, and
we got
looking forward. I'm going to be showing that off pretty shortly once it gets closer to Poe. He did a great job. I love Jay. I love what he does with his illustrations, and some great talent there. And I got to give Sean a lot of credit. Having 16 artists and contribute to a book, I know how much of a headache it is to wrangle 16 artists and projects and pictures and to coordinate that. That's a job. So kudos to him.
What's really fun about this too is when you have 16 artists, look at the various styles.
I know, right? It's fun.
Whatever art style you like, you're going to have it in here.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait to get the printed copy of that. So, and good for him. He made his goal in I went on shortly after it launched and it was already halfway. And I looked this morning and I'm like, oh, he's killing it.
Well, they got the early bird special, which maybe, let's see, there's 4 left. There's only 15 available of the early bird special. $35, you get all of the books in the series. So there's 4 books so far, plus the new field guide. So that's 5 issues for the series. And that shows you where things are with, with Kickstarter as you grow it. And this is part of what we're doing with Bardstone. As your series grows and you get more and more issues, you're growing your fan base. And then you start hitting those goals very fast, and right. They do really well. His last Kickstarter was like 11,000 for Scarlet or so.
Yeah.
So, he's got a good following there, and that's our goal with Crimson Shadows, and so which is why I support our projects nice and early while we're at the early stage, so you can say you were there at the begining.
Yeah. So it really is a collectible at that point. So you never know what's going to happen if things go the way we hope they go, and we keep producing these books. There'll be second and third print variants of these books, and these books that come out in these original Kickstarters, they're limited to 100 copies. 100 copies. If we are lucky enough that something we are doing gets optioned and gets turned into a show, something, you never know. But to say I have one of only 100 copies of a book it's pretty amazing. So you're going to enjoy the story. We know you're going to enjoy what we've done, but to be able to have a collectible like that is, it's a win-win. So why not?
So speaking of collectibles, so in your own collections, is there any book like that where you're like, wow, I'm so glad I got that one when I did, like way at the beginning?
The original stuff we got from Stranger Comics, I've loved that. I'll put that in there because once that show does come out for HBO, if it's even half as good as the comics are, Sebastian's going to get all the glory and fame that he deserves, and all of that team there, because they're great guys. Mm-hmm. I'm really hoping that becomes as big as I think it will.
He'll have eternal glory.
That's right.
As Gandalf, Dumbledore said regarding the tournament there.
Yeah,
eternal glory.
Yeah, the Tri-Wizard tournament.
Glory
awaits the wizard who completes the 3 tasks.
There's been so many Kickstarter books I've gotten over the years that are just fantastic books, and the reality is there's so much out there that the creator-owned stuff. There's only a fraction of books that get optioned and make it big. But that's really the best part of it. Is without Kickstarter and without a platform like this, a lot of these stories want to get told. And there's some fantastic books, and they've been one-off books or different stories like that anthologies, tons of horror books that I've got that really have some fantastic stuff in it. And that if it wouldn't have been for Kickstarter or for this format, it never would have gotten published. Yep. So, even though it's stuff that people wouldn't know, I'm so happy to have some of those books in my collection because there's some of the most fun stories and entertaining books I've had over the years. I've enjoyed the stuff I've got off Kickstarter or directly from artists at, Comic-Cons more than I've enjoyed the majority of anything I picked up off the shelf from the mainstream comics. By far.
Yeah, and we as we've spoken before, like the beauty of the independent comics, which you can find through things like Kickstarter or Indiegogo or different things like that, is we are small. We're a micro company, and we are able to tailor our stories the way we want and hit those fans we want. When you're those large companies, you're trying to make something that everyone likes, but the problem with that is non-offensive to everyone, and everybody has their own likes, dislikes, and everything else. And when you get to those sizes, and you're a publicly traded company, you start having to censor yourself, and everything starts becoming vanilla, because you're afraid someone might not like chocolate or Rocky Road or whatever. So everything becomes vanilla, just because that's statistically what's going to sell the most. So we don't have to do that. We can make what we want, and you, the reader, can read what you want. And that's what's so great about these.
Yeah, it really does give you complete control. Or even back in the earlier comics that were great. I mean, I grew up and everyone loved the art and stuff coming out from Marvel and DC and the characters. But by the time I was a teenager, middle school, high school, my favorite books were coming out from Dark Horse and Image. Image, a lot of the art, obviously, but the most of the books I loved back then were the Dark Horse stuff, the Mask, the Aliens Predator stuff, obviously Hellboy, some of the other different Next Men. It was great stories, but they were the independent creators. Sin City, I mean, Grendel, I mean, all these characters and independent stuff that went to Dark Horse, and they went and found a platform and a company that ended up being pretty big. But they started off as nothing. They started off as just a bunch of people collecting together independent ideas and publishing it together. So it's a great success story. But even back then, my tastes were always, I enjoyed the Superman and Wolverine and Spider-Man just like anyone else, especially Batman for me. But the books I actually read and looked forward to, Sin City, the Alien Predator stuff for me. Those are the books that if I got my pile of books weekly, monthly, whatever it was from the comic shop, those are the first ones I looked through and read. I wanted to read those stories. And then when I started back into comics again in early 2000s, one of the first books that got me back in was, The Lone Ranger. I remember that coming out, and I just absolutely fell in love with it. And I found myself like getting up early on Wednesday morning so I could make it to the comic shop before I had to go to work, so I can get my comics so I could read it while I was on break. I wanted to read what happened. And being in your 30s for me at that time, or late 20s, I felt like I was a kid again. So that's what a comic should give you, that feeling. So it's great. I mean, independent comics are, again, it's directly from us to the public, and it's a great format, and it's a great way to just get those stories into people's hands. Otherwise, without the support of the people, these stories won't get told.
Right.
I have to go work a real job, drink less beer, just not as happy of a world.
Yes. He goes millions of dollars so we can drink more beer and create more product.
That's right. In that order.
Yeah.
I wanted to share, talk a little bit about a couple of our other contributors to the book. So we got our color flatter, Shara Lima, who handled our flat colors in the book, which, and I want to just give her a shout out. I posted her link there. If you go over to ArtStation, you'll be able to find her at Shara Lima. And here are samples of some of her work here. So if I click on that, you can see here's the original inks. These are her color flats. And then this is the inks on top of her color flats. So she was a key part of our process here to help to speed up my time and make it much easier for me to manage this series as well as Crimson Shadows at the same time. So she did a phenomenal job with her flats, and I look forward to doing my final colors on top of them. She does clean work. If you guys need a color flatter out there, I highly recommend her. She was very professional, very timely, and did a phenomenal job. So you can see some of her work there. So go check her out.
She's fantastic. And I talked to her online for a while last week. We were just messaging back and forth. And I said, I'm sorry if we're butchering your name. And she goes, oh, you're doing just a fine job. And that's the polite way of saying, yeah, you are. But but she didn't correct us either. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know what's the right way.
She actually lives over in Brazil, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So so we got her, and then we also have another Brazilian, a Brazilian American who's joining us, who is doing our cover that I showed off there. It's Sergio Cariello. Here, if you just do a Google search, you can find tons of his work online. He's done a phenomenal job on so many things. But he did the Action Bible, which is insanely huge. It's been like #1 for 10 years straight or something like that. And it's in 60 different languages around the world. Here you see some commissions he's done at shows. There's Sergio there. Nice pose there. He's got going on in his drawing room. But he's such an awesome gentleman that I've gotten to know over the years, and always a pleasure to talk to. But like we said, he's done Lone Rangers. He's worked on Marvel and DC, Son of Samson, Action Bible. There's so much more. There's one of his Lone Ranger sketches there, like 2009, that's dated. So you can see some of his other stuff there. So lots of commissions. He does tons of stuff at shows. He's a great guy.
Yeah, fantastic.
Here's some original art of Azrael, number 83. That's one of his comic books he did there. So good stuff, good stuff. So I want to thank Sergio for being part of Wretched Realms.
Yeah.
All right, let's pull up our main window again so people can see our add-ons. Add-ons.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about add-ons, Kevin.
You caught me mid-drink. The add-ons. Well, add-ons are the absolute best thing in the world, especially when it comes to Kickstarter. So it just gives everyone the opportunity to be able to customize the reward. So you can pick a reward, the one that is the closest to what you would want, that really just yells at you and says, buy me. But then you have the option to add on all these other great options, whether it be digital copies of our previous books, multiple copies of the current book. Maybe you want to buy, several different copies and give them out for Christmas gifts. Not a bad idea, by the way. So, or you can buy sketches. You can buy a sketch that we can do on one of the covers for you. So, T-shirts, bundle packs, pretty much everything. So, it's a fantastic way to get exactly what you want out of the reward. And if it's not there and there's something, I'm sure we can figure it out anyways. So.
Yep. And what's nice too is previously with add-ons, you had to kind of do your own math and guess how much money to add to order. And then through the surveys, you had to specify what you wanted. Kickstarter has done an upgrade. So now you pick your reward, and then at the checkout window, or however you call it for Kickstarter, you then have these menu options that are pre-programmed in that you can select, and it'll add it on. So it's much more user-friendly now than the previous way. It's the beta version, and we were able to get in right away on this for the test run. So so far it's looking great. Loving how this works.
Yeah, it's Kickstarter, I think, is going to bring in all these little add-on options, not on only the add-ons, but the other perks that were only previously available by hiring a third-party company like BackerKit to incorporate the shipping, to incorporate add-ons, to build basically a mini little online store. So I think Kickstarter has realized that they can capture a bigger part of the market, and well, honestly, it's more money for them. I mean, quite frankly, let's be honest. I mean, Kickstarter is losing out on some revenue by allowing third parties to come in and do that. But two, they're making it easier for the creators and for the purchasers. I mean, this is a one-time, you log on, you find the book you want, you get the reward, you pick the add-ons, you instantly know exactly how much it's going to cost you. Once the Kickstarter is over, your credit card gets billed, you're done. Everything's it's a very simple process then. And then for us as creators, we get a nice hand-done list of everybody and everything that they got. So it just makes everything quicker, easier, smoother, and just a much better process for everyone involved. So kudos to Kickstarter for adding these features And quite frankly, I pray that the beta test runs exactly how they want it to, and it's something that stays.
I agree. So here are some shots of the interiors. These are the work in progress shots prior to Shara adding her colors, and this was before I had the backgrounds drawn in. But you see the foreground drawings that I did, and along with some of the dialogue and stuff. And then these are some of my pencils before I started adding shading here. So you see what some of the interiors look like here.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you an idea of what the book will look like on the inside. There you have it, folks. And I'm gonna refresh the screen. I don't think I have to refresh it though. I think it does it automatically.
Yeah, when you go up there, it should, because we watched it this morning where we popped up Sean's and immediately someone had supported Sean's.
Right.
Saw the money go.
Sean's was like watching a slot machine winning, though. It was like ding, 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 and it kept going up. It's like, hey, I want that.
Yeah.
But so we're approaching 8 o'clock. What else you guys want to talk about regarding this?
I already said supports the independent comics, but hopefully they'll support this one and could keep the Bardstone going the way it's been going lately. And really excited about people continue to get another book in the hands from our group.
I agree.
Yeah, the feedback I've gotten from Poe, I've seen some of the feedback from Crimson Shadows, already some comments on Wretched Realms. It's great to hear the feedback coming back from everybody and saying, I haven't seen anything negative yet, which I'll take that as a huge win.
Yeah.
But
my favorite review for Crimson Shadows was fun and creepy.
Yeah. Yep. And that's exactly what it should be. And it's one of those stories, and I told Scott this before, and that's why I wanted to be involved in the project. He pitched at me, and I'm like, what he told me is a book I would pick up no matter where I was. If I was walking around Artist Alley and anyone gave me the pitch of Crimson Shadows, I'd buy the book. Pretty much sight unseen. I mean, it screams, that sounds like an awesome idea to me. So, and the idea for Wretched Realms, just an anthology series, just fun. I mean, who doesn't like a Western? Who knows? The next issue might have a alien story mixed with a horror book. Who knows? Yep. I mean, that's the fun of anthology.
We could have a cartoony style. We could have a hardcore style. It's whatever. Right. It's whatever. So if you are watching this and you are an illustrator or a writer and you just have a simple whether it's a 6-page short story for a comic book format or a full issue, well, give us a call. We'll love to talk to you, and we can work with you to put it out as a story, and we'll publish it. We'll manage the Kickstarter. We'll handle everything. You just got to worry about creating, which is what you guys want to do. That's the fun part. We'll handle the workload. So that's what we want to do with Bardstone.
Yep.
Very good, people. That it?
I think that's it.
All right, we're all tired. It's been long days for us.
Yeah. So still recovering from the other day of driving still, but I'm good.
I'm getting ready to head to Vegas again this weekend. So
what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's going out there because we didn't get our prime rib, so he's got to get his prime rib.
Yeah. Hey, I was supposed to go out for work, and they canceled the convention. I'm like, well, I think I'm still gonna go. And then my boss is like, that sounds like a good idea. Then the other guy's like, that's a good idea. So now we're also going out with the wives.
So you were supposed to go for a convention for your other job.
A trade show, yeah.
So that worked out twice this year. You had shows out there that got canceled, but you were able to keep
3.
The trip. 3?
I had 3 scheduled. Yeah, there's supposed to be another one coming in November. So it was supposed to be my big Vegas year, but we figured, hey, the flights are so cheap. We went out in June, July, and things were great. I mean, I'm going out there for 5 days, and my out-of-pocket expense is like $150.
Wow!
For 2 of us. Yeah. So we just go out. You don't have to go and do anything. You can just relax and have fun. So I'm looking forward to it, and just enjoying some time with some friends and just chilling out.
Try to get a convention canceled for like January out there so you can go.
I know, right?
You gotta avoid the horrible weather.
Yeah. Well, it's the weirdest thing I tell everybody. I've been everywhere, and I travel a lot between Comic Cons and my day job. I travel a lot. I try to take some time in each city and enjoy it. But Las Vegas is the one city where I really feel like I decompress. I feel like I enjoy myself and relax the most in Las Vegas. And most people look at me like I'm insane.
I think most people overload their schedule. We treat Vegas different for us, I think. And for me too. I so relax out there, but it's like one of the few shows I go and actually just say, you know what, I'm going to enjoy the pool. I'm going to enjoy just sitting doing nothing. It's just nice, but
I guess
the week we were out there, it was like the best week I've had all year because of the fact that it was very low key. We were not rushing to go anywhere. And I came home and went right back to work, and gosh, I was gone a week, but it felt like I was gone 2 weeks. I felt so good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Vegas is one of those spots where you don't have, other than maybe you're going to go and catch a big show, a Cirque du Soleil show or a concert, something. But for the most part, you really can just go out to Vegas with zero plans, relax, wait till about 5 o'clock and be like, all right, guys, what out of the 150 things available to do tonight would you like to do? Mm-hmm. And that's the joy of it. You really don't have to make any plans, but at any given time, you can go and find anything that you'd want to go out and do. So it's really the perfect environment for it. And I can't wait to go back. So
nice.
Suckers.
Well, I know how it is. I just booked I'm going to go down and see sister and family down in Florida for a week in December. And again, it wasn't very expensive. And then I'll do a little time there too. Got that booked and all that. But it's, it's nice to finally get away again and plan a trip and not be stuck just doing the same old.
Right.
I'll tell you, I think everybody needs to a little bit right now because, everyone needs the decompression time. So anyone that's watching, even if it's take a day off work and go just drive somewhere.
So when are you going this weekend?
What's that?
This weekend you're going?
Yep, we leave Friday and we come back on Tuesday. So
just so you're aware, Saturday is my birthday, which means I get 10% of all your winnings on Saturday.
Is that what it is?
It's my birthday, so
you want to make that bet with Brandy. She did a lot better last time by accident. She won by accident like 4 times.
That was like when I did what was it? Roulette with you?
Oh, yeah, I love that story, but I won't tell it here in front of people.
Yeah. Needless to say, I had no clue what I was doing, but I was up like $600 or something at one point. But I just kept playing, and then I was down. Yeah. Then I was back to 0.
Oh, Brandy was hitting on roulette. She didn't know she was like, I didn't mean to bet that much. Oh, it hit. I'm okay.
She won by accident 3 times and huge wins, awesome. Too.
Yeah. And then she won at the airport for y'all flew home.
Well, that's kind of like, people who do March Madness. I've been in so many of those things where some person who never watches basketball, but they pick teams based on jersey colors, ended up winning.
What Brandy always does, which mascot would eat the other one?
There you go. That actually would be a great. That's a great episode of Odd Musings. There, we'll have Brandy on.
There we go.
When March Madness comes around next time, we'll have Brandy doing her picks. She'll fill out the tournament thing, and we'll get her reasoning behind why each mascot is stronger than the other.
Right. Yep, that should be a very interesting hour. Yes,
that's right. Well, folks, we're past the 8 o'clock hour.
All right.
Just remember, check us out. Kickstarter. Wretched Realms is the name of the series. Bardstone is our publishing company. It's a fun book. All the issues we're doing are a lot of fun. We're putting quality into the product, and any support you can give would be appreciated. Share the links with your friends so they can check it out and see if they want to support it. Thank you guys for your contributions as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, as I guess Brett would say, screw you, Dexter. We don't.
I didn't say screw you, Dexter. I said I just don't care.
And no, but look forward to seeing all you online again. Odd Musings every Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time. We're doing our things here. Oh, you got it. We have a private message to Brett coming in from Kelly. Hi,
hey,
Brett.
Hello, Kelly. Kelly is one of my longest fans of Boomtown Scabs. I get to know her and her Mike when he was younger. He's now, I think he might be married now. Kelly can confirm, but he was at least engaged last I knew. And Kelly's an awesome person. I love seeing her at the Motor City Comic Con every year. She's bought all my Boomtown Scabs. I think she's got all the Carl books. She's got all the Expendables. And she's been a great fan and friend at the shows, and I missed seeing her this year. So hopefully next year, I won't see her. I won't be at Motor City. I'm sorry, Kelly, but you have to go see Scott. Scott will be there, but maybe she'll go out to something else and get a chance to catch up with her. She's another.
She does want to order something special from you. I can bring it for her.
Oh yeah, definitely. Anything she had signed ahead of time, I can definitely have it pre-signed and stuff like that. And Kelly definitely check out this
fly out to Denver to see you because you'll be Denver that weekend. So.
Oh yeah, Denver's gonna be a great time. Looking forward to that. I love that show. So Kelly, definitely check out this book that we're doing with Bardstone, and hopefully, if you guys like it, you'll want to get more. But if not, it's great. I'm glad that you popped onto the show tonight to check things out with us.
There you go. All right, folks. Everyone, have a wonderful evening, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
Adios.